This is the third time I'm restarting the live. My engagement is so bad. I'm just gonna record a live with no one here. It is what it is. The information that I'm putting out is valuable, and I know that my engagement is not gonna remain like this forever. So it is what it is. Sometimes I almost prefer my lives with no one directly in it anyway, because you can never tell who's in the live and what the purpose is. But I'm recording these for YouTube because I put the information out on YouTube, and people do have my YouTube, so you know, I just record here, upload to YouTube. People get to see what I'm talking about. You know, I would think that if I were in this situation and I had behaved in the way John Ferreira has behaved and conducted myself as a monster, I wouldn't want people to know either. I would want to keep that to myself. I wouldn't want people to see, but I made a commitment to come on live every day. And so I'm going to be talking about my story. I think a lot of people have not really gotten to know me over the years. I do tend to stay to myself. So people don't really, I feel like it's easy to believe not whatever about me. I'm not giving people a pass on that. Like, people should have known what kind of individual I am from like shopping in my store so many years and like feeling me out and having been consistently a good person. But you know, it is what it is. You can never really control what people are thinking and whatever. I just want to start off with, in a way that I never usually start off my lives, is I want to talk about the store. I've been talking about my story. I've been talking about the spiritual journey that I've gone on, and who would have thought? My God, I am a different person. I do want to say there are still traits of the old me, thank God, and I still have the capacity to be a very kind, loving, the same. My light is the same. You know, I can be the same person, but you know, I can defend myself. I know myself. You know, I have a very close relationship to God, a very active, real relationship to God and to passed over loved ones, and you know, myself. I know myself. I've woken up to who I am. I feel so good to be in my skin. It feels good to understand my purpose finally. For so many years, I would ask myself, like, what is my purpose? What am I here for? I would love to leave a legacy. You know, I would love for my name to be remembered. And you know what? I feel like all of those things are possible. I have never dreamed so big in my life. I'm just a better person on all fronts, honestly. Very proud of that. Very confident, very forgiving of myself. It has taken a long journey for me to get here. And who would have thought that this would be the final push? Who would have thought that being brutally attacked by people I know and don't know would be the final push to getting me to loving myself completely, stepping into my highest potential, accepting myself, accepting others. You know, who would have thought? I'm just really proud of myself. I'm proud of my journey. I'm proud of the fight that I put up. I'm proud of my resilience. I am proud of my determination. My God, I showed up to work every single day despite what was going on. And now I just feel like I'm starting a new chapter. And you know what? It's frustrating because it's slow. It's a slow start. But I'm documenting this journey, and I want people to see, you know, the real me, that I have a spiritual side to me, and that is going to be a part of my brand, and I'm going to communicate that through my brand as much as I can. You know, just as I always have. When I first used to, I guess the first phase of this business, I would constantly talk about God. Like, did you guys pray? Did you guys meditate and do prayers and whatever? But I was going the wrong way. I really was, with the way that I was running the business and the things that I was allowing. And it was like I wasn't being my true, authentic self. and I was accepting of an environment and of a crowd that I should have, you know, placed. I should not have been there. I should not have been around that at all. So, you know, I forgive myself for going the wrong way. I don't regret any of it. I learned a valuable lesson. It has taken a lot of healing and a shit ton of meditation to talk like this. It's hard. It is hard. Healing is difficult. It's very difficult. There's no like real way around it. I get pissed off more than anything else. More than crying. I don't know, like I feel like I cry more for other people than I do for myself. When I witness other people's pain and suffering, and I definitely cry for people who I know have been gang stalked and they've succeeded. They've lost their life, they've been homeless, they've lost their hope. More than anything, their hope, their drive, their follow through. That makes me cry for sure. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and it's really given me a push to continue to come on live and continue to tell my story and continue to like persevere when like the viewership is super low. But I also know this is how you build anything. When I first had my YouTube, I had like no subscribers. When I first had you know, now I don't have that many still, but it's taken a while to build it up, and it's, you know, they're real people, which I didn't know how it was gonna go. I really didn't think that far. I just kind of did what I felt like I should do, which was speak out and then record everything so that people could go back through it and people can just kind of see. But anyway, so with the store right now, I am going to continue. Listen, outside of everything, this economy is brutal. It is brutal. I mean, it's obviously brutal. It's been brutal for a while. I don't know if it's getting worse. I don't know if it's getting better. It's just, they're talking about like stopping interest rates or raising or lowering them or what. Like, I don't know, but I know it's hard. The cost of food is insane. The cost of everything is insane. So I can only imagine. We are keeping our stock on sale between 40 to 70% off for sure. Everything is online. There's still a couple things that need to be loaded up onto the website as well, but that'll come in time. But yeah, please check out the website www.shopcann.com. So that's shop SHOP can KANN.com. It's obviously on the Instagram page. For people on YouTube who want to check it out, my Instagram is KAN as in Nancy, N as in Nancy, B as in Bob, U as in umbrella, T as in Tom, I as in India, Q as in Q-tip. And I'll go ahead and put that actually in maybe the title of this video. I want to mention a couple things. First of all, I just want to send love to the people dealing with gang stalking still. Oh, that's my cat. Hold on, let me check. Nope, it's not the cat. Oh my god, it's the cat. He knocked over the basket. Never mind. Yes, so I've checked out other people's pages on YouTube that are going through gang stalking, and I've watched their videos, and my heart continues to break all the time. I have flashbacks of when things were horrible, when things were horrific. The only reason I don't have videos like that trying to prove that things are happening is because I just felt it was a wrong way to go. It was a waste of my time. It was chasing my tail. It was just nonsense. I understood very early on that this is done in such a covert way that they are completely hiding their hands, and they're doing it in such a way that these things are so small and trivial that they're meant to get your attention, and you know something's going on, but if you complain about it, people will be like, well, that's normal. But really, it's like some covert stuff constantly going on, and like I feel like they do it over and over and over. Not I feel like they do it over and over to the point where it becomes so aggravating. I feel like it took a very insidious person to have come up with, to have invented gang stalking. This is insane to me. I don't know what kind of plot this is, but when this gets exposed, when this monster gets exposed for what he's done, and people find out this is what he's done, what he in his heart thinks, he'll see himself for who he truly is, and for what he in his heart thinks is okay is absolutely not okay. It's beyond. And that's what I want to talk about today, is gang stalking. I want to just kind of go over some of the things that I know, that I've noticed, etc., etc., you know, to add some insight out there for people who are going through it, and hopefully you can use the information to understand how to like navigate this kind of situation. If you are going through this right now, I promise you, I am so sorry. I've gone through it. I've had to fight through it, which is why I'm coming here to give information. I found a way to cut myself free, and I can only tell you the way that worked for me. You're going to have to adjust whatever I did to your situation and just figure out what you can do the best you can, you know. But I thank God every day I made it through, because I don't think it's something that people are meant to make through. I think it's definitely meant to be like a final blow to your life that you cannot get back up from. So I wanted to talk about this is something that's really bothered me for a long time, is like how people could agree to be a gang stalker. That's something that's bothered me, that I've never understood, because I'm saying to myself, like, if you have a heart and a conscience, like, how can you agree to something like that? And then I started really thinking about it, and then now I've had to put different pieces together, I swear. And this is one of the reasons why I say to myself, I feel like things just happen the way that they were supposed to happen, and it just is what it is, right? First of all, people bribe people. Now, I feel like those people are like bottom of the barrel people. Somebody, if not financially, then definitely morally debunked, okay? Or defunct, sorry. They just tell you, hey, I'm gonna pay you this much money, and I want you to go and see what that person's doing, or go in that person's store and do this or this and that. I think normally the ones you can bribe are true, organic, genuine gang stalkers. Like, these are people that don't care. You say follow somebody for whatever reason, they'll go ahead and they'll do it. I don't know if it's $25 they give them, I don't know what it is, they're happy to do it, and it's exciting and they think it's funny. I don't even know if they ask, like, what did this person do, is this a good idea? Nothing, but they do it. Then I think there are people who they lie to. So they tell them, oh, this person owes me money, oh, this person owes a lot of money, or their husband owes money, and we just want to make sure that they don't flee the country, they don't run off. I think that's a step up from the people they just straight bribe. I think that those people maybe think there's some sort of nobility in what they're doing, they're helping out, but the thing is, they don't ask the victim, they don't make any, they just interject in a situation that they have absolutely no idea what they're doing. And then I think there are people who they just listen to a ton of slander, and those are probably people that they're trying to convince either to sever a tie with the victim, or to continue to have a very disingenuous relationship with them, to extract information from them about what they're doing. They need information about what you're doing to knock it out of your hands, to intercept it, to stop you from working, stop you from functioning normally, place burdens in your path, bribe people to stop things from working out for you, hold mail back, do all kinds of things that are going to be just annoying, where you're constantly needing to go and fix something all the time. Oh, I need to go check on this thing or that thing or whatever, instead of working, instead of being productive. So it's like they overload you with burdens and you can't get your job done all day. You know, and slowly it's like you become dedicated to keeping this ball in the air because somebody's all constantly throwing a wrench in your way. These are the three types of people that I've identified as far as like people who would agree to do this. There's obviously jealous family and friends, which I think everybody has and maybe just doesn't want to acknowledge that they have a family member who, or a friend who just doesn't like them. And then they approach those people and they make other people approach them. You know, the gang stalkers, they approach people and they say, oh, this person's this and this person's that. And believe me, they could care less to just straight up lie, slander, not even close to the truth. And I think they have the same lies that they tell all the time. And I think one of the things they said about me is that I'm a drug dealer. As a girl, as a mom. I guess drug dealers can be anyone, but I was so shocked. I was shocked that people would believe that, but you know, it is what it is. That's definitely one of the claims they made about me. They spoke about me as a parent. I'm sure they tried to say other things, but my personality wasn't showing it. I'm sure they tried to say things like, you know, I'm a horrible person, I'm very aggressive, you know, maybe they try to talk about me like, you know, as a woman, you know, my personal life or my dating life. I'm sure they try to say things like that, but I think that just didn't fit my personality and what people know about me. And people have known me for years. I've had my business around for way too long. And I think the initial slander wasn't sticking. And then they just resorted to lies, because at Oakville Place Mall, people were talking about like, oh, my drug dealer reposted you. And it's like, I'm not supposed to know any drug dealers, first of all. So it's like, I don't know why these people are reposting me. I don't know what's happening with our store. I don't know. But people believed it. A lot of people did. And I feel like a lot of people who felt like they didn't want to be involved in that distanced themselves from me. And then there were other people that, I don't know, I feel like anybody in Toronto who's out and about in the streets, going partying, whatever, wouldn't believe that. They're like, this girl is nowhere. Like, she doesn't, you know, you don't see me anywhere. You don't see me in the streets. You don't see me around. You don't see me partying. So like, how can you believe something like that? Who am I working with? Who are these people? So it's just been so like crazy to me. I feel like people have taken responsibility for the success of my business that I've worked so extremely hard for. I'm so grateful that I have like my cash register to prove how I make my money every dime. You know, and it really helps, you know, if you're purchasing homes and stuff like that, they look into where your deposit is coming from and etc. So it's like, I have a very legitimate life, thank God. But it's like, I can only imagine what the slander is and just how bad it's been to even find myself in this situation right now. But that is something that they do. And then, you know, on top of all the slander, on top of all of that, like, you know, how it started for me is someone came to the window of the store and they took a picture of me, and then every time they would come around, they would take pictures of me with the cameras up for forever. And when I started, you know, taking pictures and videos of them with the cameras up, they stopped. They realized they had to stop, because eventually they were going to get caught doing that. And then after everybody was following me around, taking pictures, they were just following me around. Not taking pictures, not holding up the phone as if they were taking a picture of me, but boy, if I went to the washroom at Vaughan Mills, someone was in there. They were coming into my store around the clock. When Vaughan Mills put chairs in front of my store, which I don't know why in the entire hallway they put it in front of my store. Once those chairs were in front of there, people would sit in front of there and watch us in our store the entire freaking time. It was insane. It was just abuse after abuse. I used to have it on video. They deleted the video from my archive, from my Instagram page and then my archives. But I had a video of guys sitting in front of my store and visibly like pointing to the store and having antagonistic behavior to basically show me that they were sitting in front of my store and that they were watching me. It is such an out of body experience where you feel like you're in a horror movie, where it's like, wait, people are seriously following me all over. And the way they start the process of making you know that they're following you is by raising the camera. So making you feel that they take a picture of you. And you know, in my situation, these people are drug mules. They're trying to recruit me to be a drug mule. So I don't know, it was just like some of the people that were coming around were not people I would have ever interacted with. They're not people I would regularly know. And then it evolved into, when it was taking too long, because I feel like normally they knock people down within a couple weeks. I want to say 3 months max. If you last 3 months of being gang stalked, you need a medal. Right now, I need to have a coat with 5 stars on it at all times. I survived a year and a half. at all times. Like, it is insane to survive this. It's like mental warfare all the time. And so one of the things that I constantly tell people and I constantly had to do is I was like, I can't start healing from this when this is done. I have to start healing from this now. I have to take this seriously now. My mental health is not, it's not negotiable. I need my mind. And I really felt like prolonged exposure to this level of abuse was just it was gonna take me out. There was just no way. So I've just been going through it for a year and a half. Slander, people following me everywhere I go, in cars. They need multiple people to do this, so they know your routine, they know your schedule, they know where you're going to be, so they already know you're going to be at the mall. There's a couple cars on the highway, there's people already when you get there. In the beginning, anxiety through the roof. I was in a constant state of like fight or flight, elevated heart rate, panic, and then it does something to your mind after you're in those conditions in a prolonged way, is that it changes your mind where now see, I wanted to describe this for a while, so I'm gonna do it today. I've been avoiding it because I've been a little nervous of talking about this, but it changes your mind. Being in constant fear or being in constant anxiety, it shifts your normal focus from like taking care of yourself, your mental health, making your bed in the morning. How do I want to redecorate my house? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? It takes you from the state of considering those kinds of things to constantly considering your safety, your children's safety. You get paranoid. If like something glitches on your computer, you think it's gang stalkers. Everything you think is gang stalkers. And it's taken me a while in the middle of the process to differentiate. Like, what is it that is happening because I'm being targeted by these people, and what is actually just real life? And then I've had to differentiate between, it also puts you mentally in a place where you think everybody is a gang stalker and that there's 100,000 gang stalkers out there, and that's not true. What they do is they strategically surround you at all times everywhere you go. If you went to a fair, they would station themselves all around you. I'm telling you, people sit down and strategically plan this. It's only when you get out of gang stalking and when I was moving out of physically being followed everywhere, like I learned how to navigate, that I started realizing like, wait a minute, there are very few gang stalkers. Yeah, we're online now. I gave up the store because people were coming in there every day, like bombarding me with pressure, bombarding me with just abuse. I'm gonna go down the list of like all the things that they do, and you will kind of get an idea of how bad this thing is. But this is bad. Anybody who's in the drug world knows about this. Well, that's not true. A lot of people don't. A lot of people have ideas about it, but I feel like yo, this is coming up. I feel like a lot of people know about it. Let me tell you something. And I want to mention this, and it's crazy because I feel like God was warning me about this situation for a long time. I feel like God was dropping hints for a long time that this was coming. This is off the topic of what I'm going to talk about, but this is still interesting. The first warning that I got about this was maybe I was still working in corporate, so maybe 2014 or so. In 2014, listen, I was working in insurance, in life insurance, and I was selling group benefit plans to companies. And I remember in that space, like, I was just like a mathematician-minded person. I don't believe, like, yes, I believe there is a God, and I pray to God, but I don't believe in like spirituality or tarot or any of the above. I don't believe in any of that stuff, right? So I end up, just for whatever reason, I don't know if there was a show, and I think maybe Khloe Kardashian went to see this guy who was reading tarot, and he kind of read her future, and she was like, whoa, that's so accurate or whatever. And that was my first kind of like hearing about tarot. And I feel like God had to make me connect to it in that way because it was just too far from what I would believe. So they had to slowly walk me down this road, because I would need to believe in God very deeply and have a very open mind to be able to survive this. So that was the first thing I heard about tarot. And then one day after work, I was like, I want to go get a tarot reading. And it had been bouncing around in my mind for a while, but I was scared. Like, I was like, is this demon worship? Like, what is this? Like, I don't want to go get a tarot reading and then there's like ghosts in my house. I was scared. I was nervous, to be honest. And it was bouncing around in my head. And then finally I decided one day I was going to go get a tarot reading. I got a tarot reading somewhere. Listen, I was driving after a meeting ended. The meeting ended early. And on my way, I saw a tarot shop and it just called to me. And I said, you know what, F it, today I'm going to go. I had a bit of cash in my pocket. I was like, whatever, I'm going to go. And I pulled in and I remember I asked her, I was like, this isn't like devil worship or anything, like, is it? And she's like, no, I pray to God. She's like showing me her Bible and everything. And I was like still skeptical, but I was like, nervously, I went in and I listened. And I was only supposed to have a 20-minute reading. But I was in there like bawling my eyes out. I was remembering my grandmother who passed away, who I had just not dealt with that death. It was too painful. Every time I tried to approach the topic, it was too painful to deal with. And so I just would like avoid it. I avoided it for years. I missed her. You know, I love her. I consider her my earth mother. And I had a difficult time dealing with the fact that I didn't get to say goodbye. It was very, very difficult for me. I'm getting upset obviously now. I'm reliving this moment again. But anyway, I felt like, you know, the tarot reader said what I needed to hear, so I didn't care if it was real or not. She said, your grandmother misses you, she loves you, she understands everything, she understands now why things had to happen the way that they did, because she was very upset about it before, and I knew she was. Instinctively I felt that she was upset. We were so close. So close. And I feel like a lot of who I am as a human being is modeled after her. But anyway, and I just went there and I had that reading, and that reading took me from someone who would never believe in spirituality to someone who was open to it. Because I said to myself, if all it does is it gives someone the comfort that they need to close something, to close a chapter of their life that is painful, then it serves its purpose. Because where else could I have found that comfort? So it was very therapeutic for me listening to that reading. And she said to me at the time, she said, you don't believe in this stuff at all. You only came here for a message. You're like a science this is what she said. She said, you're a science money person. You don't believe in this stuff. You just came here for a message. And I paid her way more than I had to. And when I think about it now, I didn't pay her enough. And I think she could have asked for more and I would have ran to the bank to get it. But she felt that I needed to hear what she had to say. She felt it. But I bring up that story because she was freaked out by the end of the reading. She saw something that shook her spirit. It shook her spirit. She wanted to clean an energy off of me. She said, you have an energy on you that makes people jealous of you, even though they don't want to be, even though they love you. She's like, there's an energy on you that makes people envious, and it's going to get worse as you get older. So this was many years ago. This was like 2014. Yeah, 2013, 2014. This was before I started my boutique, before I started my store. And I remember I was scared for her to clean it off. I was like, no. And I ran off, and she rolled her eyes and kissed her teeth. This is a white lady too. Rolled her eyes and kissed her teeth. And she's like, I want to help you. But I didn't let her clean me off or pray for me or do any of that stuff. So I continued on with my life. And of course, I faced so much envy and jealousy in my life. It's been ridiculous. And it's so crazy. I just feel like along the way, I would have different people push me out of working for people and say, like, you need to be working for yourself. So many people would say that. And I remember and I feel like God kept placing me in very temporary friendships that would just push me along my path. So I was in one friendship. That woman was not a friend because she turned jealous very quickly, even though I loved her. And she, you know, she was the one that said, you know, you're supposed to have your own business, right? Oh, I didn't even know you were still in the live. It showed no one was in here. No, I don't want to move my shop. I don't want to move my shop to any new store. I want to just stay online. I feel like it would just be, I was online before I went to the malls. I don't like the schedule. It's too grueling. It's too much work. And I just prefer to, like, you know, I'm already at a rebuilding stage. I'd prefer to just like continue on what I'm doing online. I wouldn't want to move to another mall, honestly. Especially right now, I don't feel like the economy is good. I know people in the malls are suffering, so I don't want to get back on that rat race. But I was gonna say, where was I? There were people that were just kind of like pushing me along the way of like, you need to open your own business. And I remember I had a friendship with a girl, and I thought this girl was going to be my best friend. Like, we were so alike, we got along, everything was amazing. And then we stopped being friends as soon as I opened my store. We stopped being friends as soon as I opened my store. So I opened the store while I was dealing with the heartbreak of this friendship not working out, and it sucked. And then I went all the way along, and I feel like I had a lot of like fake friendships that came around in the time that I was, you know, kind of doing what I was doing. And I remember I got to be friends with, not friends, but have clients that were a little bit too out there for me when I first opened up, a little bit too out there. And I had a lot of fake people come around me, and then people in that kind of fast street life, because I was selling urban clothes. I had a lot of people come around me in that sort of fast phase, and it was like, then I had a lot of the fake friendships and people come around and whatever, and then it's like my business closed. I had to close the store. I wasn't making enough money. And I feel like now looking back, I feel like it was like this would have happened to me one way or the other, because I would have never agreed to be a drug mule. But this is what they do eventually when they see your business is about to rise and you're in those kinds of circles. I feel like it could have happened before, but it didn't. I feel like God was waiting for me to get to a certain place spiritually and emotionally and all of the above. So I just feel like at the time that it happened, I was ready for it to happen. By the time it happened, I already had the skills to handle it. I already had an open enough mind to handle it. And then I also had the discipline to handle it. The discipline to keep a business going, the discipline to work hard, the discipline to be resilient and to not give up. You know, my ability to kind of read people and read a room was heightened. You know, I was spiritually aware of, you know, my ancestors. I was already, you know, talking to my grandmother all the time, and it gave me comfort. It wasn't something I was doing in order to like invoke her spirit for any reason. It just gave me comfort. So I would talk to her and say, hey, good morning. I don't know if you're hearing me, but, you know, I love you and whatever. And then I used to feel like I felt her presence. I'm sorry to say, for people who do or do not believe that, I don't know what to say, but I felt that I was feeling her presence and her love, and it was just, she was my safe space. If something happened, I didn't need a best friend. I didn't need to confide in anyone. I would talk to her. And then I got to the point of feeling like she was helping me. So it was like, it was between God the Father, and her all the time that I would talk to. And it could be on the way, I say this all the time, it could be on the way to getting something done. It could be on the way to taking a chance and not knowing if I would be approved for something, if I would get a space or whatever. And it'd be like, hey, you know, I really need you now. Let's see what you can do. You know, this is what I'm planning. This is what I want. And I'm just, you know, I'd love your help. If you're on the other side, whisper in the ear of the person that's there, like, give this girl a chance. And it was time and time and time again. People were just giving me chances. They're like, and in the beginning, it really was like that, where people were saying, okay, I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to give you a shot. And I'd be like, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And it was people paving the way and helping me through the whole time. Now, one of the things people will know about me is that I am not racist. And I cannot look at a white person as my enemy. Because much of where I have ended up in life has always been someone giving me a chance. Not just white, but white included. And so when I look at people as human beings. And it is what it is. There's no difference to me, between, I don't feel offended by white people. I don't feel like white people are responsible for where I am in life. I don't. I take a lot of accountability for myself and my effort and what I'm doing. And I want to push through, and I want to be the best that I can be. And that's a huge thing for me. But I have worked in different places, and I have had different opportunities. I've rented different locations, and I haven't had anybody look down on me. It was like, can you afford to pay? Are you a person, I think, who is not going to pay me, who's going to run away and whatever? And I've just done my best. I've done my best. I've been honest. I've paid on time. I've done whatever I could, and I've gotten my business done. And, I always try to have loyalty and be a good person. And, sometimes it's like in my journey, I haven't had the money when I was supposed to have the money, but it's like I try to come back and have the money later. And I appreciate people. I like to part ways in a very respectful way so that you always remember me as like a good person. And if I can't, and I couldn't do it, I'm like, listen, I'm really sorry that I couldn't. I expected better of myself, but life happens to me. I'm sorry, etc., etc. I believe in living like that. And I think that's one of the reasons that it's been hard to slander me, and it's been hard to find real things that I've done, real people that don't like me, because I try to respect people. Respect is important to me, and so I see the importance of giving it as well. So I've always kind of lived my life that way. But looking back at my life from where I am now and the perspective that I have now and what I know now, I know and I realize that life happens for a reason. Every event in my life has been walking me down this corridor. Every event, every single event. There was another dream I had. I started having dreams that were like very intense visions years ago as well. Well, it's always happened, but there were ones that were really profound to me. I remember I had a dream, and I was, okay, do you know Snakes and Ladders, that game, Snakes and Ladders, where you can go from one point to another point to another point, and they count it out. Let's say it goes up to 100, and you just have to find your way there. So you might go up a ladder, fall down a snake, but you got to continue on, right? I was in a game of Snakes and Ladders in my dream, but it was like an Easter rabbit hunt. Like I was physically, my body was on the board. And I had to go from point to point, and there came one point where I was stuck. I mean, I was stuck. And at that point, when I got to that point that I was stuck and I didn't know how to get out of there, I got mad at God. And let's say I got stuck at point 31. That's where I got mad at God. And then I still managed to get my way all the way through, and I got to let's say 51, or I got to the end of it. And when I got to the end and I looked back, I realized God was with me the whole time. God was the one that helped me. And I woke up out of that dream crying profusely because I was so sorry. I was so regretful that I had treated God that way during my journey. I was so sorry that I had forgotten that I'm God's child and that God is going to be there for me even though things are difficult. That hurt me. It didn't hurt. It hurt me that I hurt God. That's what hurt me, that I hurt God. It hurt me because I felt like I was disrespectful to my God. And I made a vow right then and there that no matter whatever comes my way in life, that I'm never going to feel the way I felt waking out of that dream and crying and being regretful. I promised myself that no matter what life shows me, I am going to always trust in God, because whether or not it works, I can't afford to get to the end and be a wreck because I was so ungrateful. and I was so disgusting, because I knew God would take me through anything. And it's like God has showed me that over and over and over and over in my life consistently, like to the point I have blind faith, and it doesn't matter what things look like. It doesn't matter. I got into so many different things and so many different belief systems and watched so many videos in my spare time, things that I don't know why I don't know why I would care. Honestly, I don't. But while other people were, I was in a vapid stage. I cared about the Kardashians, I cared about fashion, I cared about all of that stuff. And then I went into like a spiritual phase out of nowhere, being prompted by nothing, just getting into it. It wasn't like I had a death or any traumatic event that happened that pushed me into it. I just felt comfortable in it. And then it became the person that I am today. So I just feel like what's happened, I've been prepared for in a way. When things were happening, I was remembering different events that had come along my timeline that had kind of like alerted me to what was going on, alerted me to the fact that this was meant to happen. You know, of course, I was already very close to my grandmother by the time I ended up in my home. And I said the story last time of how I ended up in my house, my last house. I feel like I was guided to go there. And I used to call it my grandmother's house. And I was very, and it still is the house that she led me to. 100%, God did everything possible to get me there. The money that was put in my pocket before I purchased the house, all kinds of things happened. And you know, it is what it is. I don't know what to say, but I can say I just thank God and my grandmother and God the Father, God the Mother for getting me through. That is all I can say. It is insane. What I have endured is insane. It's ridiculous. Yeah, that's part of what I wanted to share the video about, but I ended up I ended up getting sidetracked. I knew today was just going to be like a free-form video where I was just going to talk. But the other thing, and maybe I'm going to save the second half of this for another video, but you know, I guess I might as well finish, because I was originally talking about or before I went into the tangent, I was talking about the psychological effects of gang stalking. If you're gang stalked long enough without a spiritual belief and without gang guidance, and without knowing that one day it will stop or subside, I'm at the point where there are too many days between them trying to track me down. It's too difficult to track me down. It's too difficult. They wait at locations where they know that I will be, or they feel that I will be, and then it's like, do I go there or do I not? So it's getting hard with less people to expand how many different locations you're going to go to and go look for me, especially when I'm going to big locations as well. So you gotta have people crawling all over the place to find me. You know, and then the best they can do is just wait around by my house to see when I get back or see when I park, and that's all they can do. But it's kind of ridiculous after you've been gone for 7-8 hours for the day or however long you're gone, so that someone can try to convince you that they've been following you just because they're at the parking garage. I'm sure it's like there's no satisfaction from that. It's not having an effect. Every day I heal and I get stronger and stronger and better, and you know, one of the hardest things for me is to convince myself to take some time off and take a break. I've just ended a huge cycle. I've just ended a cycle of being followed and gaslit and told that what I was seeing is not happening, and betrayals by absolutely everybody that I know, and going through that, you know, not all alone, but physically all alone with my children and trying to protect them. And you know, but thank God, God has been with me. It has been a journey. I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, thank you. You still look like yourself. You don't look like anything that you've been through. I don't look like I've been through that. I look very rested and fresh, which is something that I've prayed for, and continue to pray for and ask God to, you know, heal my body, heal my mind, heal me emotionally. It's taken a long time. People have to project a lot of their angry feelings at me, and I know that stuff is not mine. I don't feel sad, but I've come to a point where I also don't even feel regretful about what's happened. I know that that was what was supposed to happen to me, and I was supposed to learn from that experience, and I did, and I'm so grateful that I've survived it. I still feel like there's justice for me for what's been taken from me, the way that these people have disrupted my business and disrupted my life. I think that there is still justice in store for me because I know that it's wrong. But you know, I was listening to a song came in my mind today, and I played it, and it's I forget the name of the singer, Sparkle featuring R. Kelly, and she's like, you better be careful what you do to me because someone might do it back to you. And this is exactly what happens to people who gang stalk people, maybe not right away, but eventually. And it was John Ferreira's time right now with me. Everything he did to me happened back to him. And I didn't have to lift a finger. I didn't have to do anything. He's been isolated by people. People have put him in smear campaigns. He's actively being mocked by people behind his back. They're laughing at him. People don't trust him. They see him as a liar. They see him as himself. They see him as a monster. People finally know the truth about why his stories never made sense and why he was around. And, you know, I'm happy. I'm happy that I could have contributed to that because this person needs to be off the street. And I have made so many reports and I have done so much. And I know that those eggs, they will hatch. And I definitely feel like a child of God, and I have hatched. And when I walk around all day, I say to Mother, I say, listen, your egg has hatched. Another one has hatched successfully. And I think there are more of us, and we'll continue to hatch into the selves that we need to be, that acknowledge the truth, that understand that to be your higher self, to be the best version of yourself, you need a connection with spirit. You do not need things. And God will take care of you. And even in those things that you do desire that will make you happy, even though you don't get your identity from them, even though you don't derive your happiness and your fullness from them, you can have them to enjoy as well. You know, we need to start taking care of ourselves as human beings. Like, we need to stop turning a blind eye to the suffering of others. And that is just the bottom line. And gang stalking is something that's so important to me and so close to my heart. I vow all the time that if God brings me to a point that I make money, by God's grace, I will have to look after homeless people, and I will have to look after people who've been gang stalked, because not everybody made it through. Because they didn't want people to make it through. So not everybody made it through. I'm going to get some coconut oil. Give me a second. Not everybody made it through. But of those of us who did make it through, we have a responsibility to the rest of us. To everybody, both people that are not awake yet, that do not realize that they're not living life in the way that they should. And also to people who just didn't make it. Gang stalking was successful. They ended up hopeless, homeless, and alone. And I don't think that's the way that anyone should live. And we need to create community around people that are suffering. It just is what it is. I've gone through this process. It's been isolating and it's been scary. This has made me the most non-judgmental version of myself. I don't care what anybody believes in, but be a good person. That's all. Be a good person. Even though I feel like I should really push, you know, the God that I know. I think God is content with people calling her, if it has to be the only way. I think Mother is content with people calling her a man. A lot of women throughout history have had to settle for that in order to do their work, in order to have their passion respected, in order for their talent to be acknowledged. Who knows how many great people have been women underneath their clothes? How many writers? How many? Shakespeare? Who knows? You know? But at the end of the day, I just feel like, hold on, I can't see people as they join. Okay. Anyway, I just feel like this is where society is headed. I think that as soon as we steer away from, you can see what's happening with COVID. You can see the government has been trying to like rebuild the world. You can see when they started giving out money, what kind of program that they want us on. It's not a matter of like convincing people anymore. Like, you can see it. And with the inflationary pressures and the things that are happening right now, you can totally tell what direction we're going in. The government doesn't care. And they were saying all throughout COVID, they were like, build back better, build back better. So obviously they have something up their sleeve for us. But I just, I don't know. I think eventually we have to at some point ask ourselves why we constantly need things. Why do we constantly need things to fill us up? The way that I feel full now, I have never felt this full in my life before. Ever. The way that I feel full in my spirit, I've never felt like this ever before. And that's just with having God in my life. Just knowing that I'm going to be taken care of and not worrying about anything. Just knowing that at the end of the day, everybody that's gonna, because I have God in my life, people who are not meant for me cannot stay. They cannot exist in my space. And I have God in a very real way. For me, it feels like a very physical way. And so I go to God for everything. I go to God for all kinds of guidance. I do not lean on myself anymore. God's voice is very distinct and very clear. It is impossible to impersonate her voice. And that's why I can say this. Because if there were any possibility, I wouldn't say it. Because I know how people are, and I know that they would try something. It is impossible. They're just not able to communicate with me in that way. It's just not possible. It's 51 minutes, so I'm going to keep it short. I just want to say, if you can do nothing more, if you don't want to disrupt your life to save somebody else, because I know a lot of people are not like that, and believe me, this is not something easy that you want to get involved in. That's why people are not responding to John Ferreira anymore, and they're not coming around to help him in any way. If you cannot help someone, don't be involved. Refuse your participation. This is what happened in my situation. People started refusing participation. People just stopped showing up to do the work. They stopped wanting these people to come in our neighborhood. They stopped wanting people to come into our neighborhood. They wanted nothing more to do with it. It was getting bad. The karma and the repercussions from John Ferreira not listening and not heeding advice was getting bad. He doesn't care what he does to himself. He certainly is not going to care what happens to anyone else. He just wants to get out of a nightmare, which is not possible to get out of. So he's a dead man walking, and he knows that. But if you're watching this right now and you're not in that situation, please do not gang stalk anyone. It is way more devastating and drives people homeless and mad. There is no amount of money worth that kind of karma. And there's no amount of money to have that kind of crap sitting on your conscience at night, knowing that you pushed a person into mental illness and homelessness. You guys are breaking people down psychologically, and there's absolutely no amount of money that should be worth that. And you know what? God's not going to depend on your ability to refuse money or trust you guys to say no and walk away. It's karma. It's karma. The karma is swift and it's immediate. The time is up. You guys got to stop doing this to people. The time is up. Putting people through that level of abuse for so long, 2-3 years, 5 years of that kind of abuse is crazy. And I've met these people in real life. People who've survived. People like me. I have the shortest term of anybody that I know. 1.5 years. I have the shortest of anybody who's been dead set to, I guess, refuse. I don't know if there have been drug mules that have refused that this long, because I remember, getting the sense that people were thinking like, what the hell is taking this so long? But Please don't be a person who would do that to another human being. Please don't. Please don't. And if you can't figure out why you shouldn't, God will show you why you shouldn't. Because they're all you gotta do is hashtag gang stalking on anywhere, YouTube, TikTok, wherever, and you will see some crazy stuff. And it could be today, it could be somebody else, and tomorrow it could be you. And I feel like nobody wants to live in a world where that sort of thing is even remotely possible. There are certain things that we should just not participate in. There's certain things that just should not be possible. And, you know, that should be it. I like these cards. I've told you guys about these cards already. Please go get these cards if you need some encouragement. They're called Spirit Messages Oracle cards. Oracle cards are really not that, well, okay, they're expensive if you want to like be a reader. It's like hundreds of dollars because you gotta buy like a lot of cards. But I'm gonna pull from the cards because they're super encouraging, and I'm gonna share what came out today. So, okay, see, now you're gonna see what I get from spirituality. I just shuffled these cards now, so I didn't pick it. I'm sure you guys heard I was shuffling. Listen to the card that came out. No matter how much you're being tested or pushed right now, stand your ground and push back. Believe in your own integrity and self-worth so much that no one can get in your way. Have the confidence to move forward. You can and will do this. That's insane. And I feel like this is just the kind of card that somebody would want to hear, to be honest with you, who's going through something like this. It's just the kind of card that you want to hear. And this is why I indulge in these kind of things, because I feel like, and I kind of grab cards every day and just kind of see what message they have for me, because they really do speak to me. And I feel like if that's all spirituality is to someone, is just getting that message you needed to get, it's not about all the extra. When things are difficult, and I feel like things are going to be very difficult moving forward, whether it's just financially or whatever, I feel like 2024 is going to be challenging. It's just the feeling that I have. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I know karma is playing out in a lot of people's lives in a very real way. It's like people are going to have to learn how to cope and be strong like we were. They're going to have to be strong like we were. Only it's not ending. No one can save you because you made this bed. Two more came out. These are important messages, okay? Sit in silence for a moment and listen. The answers you've been seeking are finally coming to you. Truly trust and believe that you're going to make it and be exactly where you need to be. We are on this journey with you. Hang in there. It's not much longer. I needed this card yesterday because yesterday I was irritated. But I think everybody needs this card. We need these cards every day. And when I say sit in silence for a moment and listen, meditation is perfect for that. Sit in silence and listen. And let me read the last card because I have 1 minute and 51 seconds left. When there are questions you need assistance with, go inward. Sit with yourself, meditate on the question, ask for our help also. Then trust your intuition, as most often the answer and guidance will be delivered to you intuitively. We are with you always. This is spirituality to me. These are my beliefs. And though I may talk about things that may be dark, ultimately I like to dwell in the light. I like to keep love in my heart. And, you know, Mother is love. God is love. Please be strong. It is possible to get through it because I'm here. You do not have to succumb to this. All you got to do is keep going, whatever it takes for you to sustain yourself. Even if it's that job that's abusive, keep hanging on to it, or, you know, whatever it has to do, you have to do to get through it. You know your situation better than me. I can't say everything to everyone, but please keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep positive. Pray. Take care of yourself, your physical appearance. Take care of your financial health. Take care of your spiritual health. take care of yourself. I'm sending lots and lots of love. I'm here for questions in the YouTube comments if you want to, and I'm going to remain on this journey with you. For anybody that needs advice or needs encouragement, you are not alone. A lot of us are going through this, and I've gotten through it, and I'm alive to tell the tale, you know, and I'm happy, healthy, and I'm not bankrupt. So sending love.